Members, when the committee was suspended last night, the committee was debating part 1. Chris Hipkins had the call and he has 3 minutes 40 seconds remaining should he wish.
I do indeed, Mr Chairman. I'm just getting warmed up. As I was saying last night before I was so rudely interrupted by the adjournment, this government claimed that this budget is sticking with a plan that's working. The real question New Zealanders will be asking is, working for who? Who is that plan working for? Working for the property developers is who this government are really interested in working for, not working for the first home buyers who are struggling to get on the property ladder, not working for the people who live in state housing who are being ignored, shafted and having their homes sold from under them by this national government. Why are they pushing this measure through under budget urgency? They're pushing it through because they don't want it to have the scrutiny that it really deserves. They don't want all of the social housing providers who don't want this to be able to come to a select committee and explain how this won't actually work, how this will actually result in a massive transfer of wealth from the government sector into the private sector, and it is the housing tenants who are going to pay the cost in the long term. They don't want this to all come unravelled through a proper public inquiry, through a select committee inquiry, so they are pushing it through under urgency. When they first mooted this idea that the private sector should have more involvement in state housing, they tried to say, actually, it'll be the social sector, be organisations like the Salvation Army and these sort of unspecified others who will be involved. They cannot name one organisation who is actively involved in the social sector at the moment who actually wants this to happen. Open invitation to all the government members over there, name one. Name one. Not one. They cannot name one social sector agency who actually wants this to happen and who wants to be involved in these provisions. Simon Bridges points to himself. He is now a social sector agency in his own right. Captain Slick over there has now decided that he is going to become a social sector agency in his own right. This is simply unnecessary. It should not be being pushed through under urgency. It deserves proper scrutiny. The National Party promised New Zealanders at the last election there would be no more asset sales. I didn't see the footnote in small print that said, except for all the state houses that we're going to hock off in a fire sale. Up and down the country, billions of dollars worth of state housing assets now on the auctioneer's block under a national government that promised New Zealanders it was going to stop asset sales after the election. That was another broken promise in a long litany of broken promises made by this national government, and that are absolutely abundantly clear in this budget. Of course, we know they're not going to get back into surplus this year. We know that they're not going to, and probably not next year either, they're not going to deliver on their promises. They've got no plan to deal with the housing crisis that we have in New Zealand. $1 million is going to be, in a very short space of time, the average price to purchase a house in Auckland, and other New Zealanders suffer because of that. They have higher interest rates around the rest of the country because the government aren't dealing with the housing crisis in Auckland. And even the plan to free up land in Auckland, which of course was a plan that the Labour government was actioning back in 2008, that the then incoming national government cancelled, so they're 7 years behind the 8 ball. Even then, they're not going to guarantee the houses built on that land are going to be affordable houses. They offered the opportunity multiple times yesterday to give New Zealanders an assurance that those houses would be affordable, and they did not take it because they know they can't. Because freeing up all that land is not going to benefit first home buyers, it's going to benefit property developers. That's who National's working for.
The Honourable Annette King.
Thank you very much, Mr Chairman.